What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the Defenders tier list, and we have got some absolute star-studded people here. We've took out quite a lot of the not really relevant people anymore, but we've got a lot of the brand new stuff. Obviously Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A, and also Liga 1 are still yet to come out. They will be in probably the next tier list, I can imagine, of the Defenders. But we have got Prem, Community, Eredivisie. We've obviously got the EFL in here as well, and many, many more. So let's jump into this and see who is the best left back, right back, centre backs that you can get in FIFA 23. To start off, one of my favourite left backs of all time at the minute. This year he is absolutely stole everything. He is incredible, and that is going to be our man Capdevila. He is an absolutely impeccable left back. If you've used any version of him, I feel like the hero version now is slightly going out of anything, but the World Cup and also the Fantasy Foot is a stunning card. You must definitely try this one out. Next to him, I'd say Roberto Carlos is definitely up there. I would have said the Prime is okay, like it's a good left back. He doesn't necessarily have what Capdevila has, and I don't know what it is in terms of stat wise, because when you look at them side by side, pace wise similar, shooting I'm not too fussed, passing's very similar, obviously the dribbling again depends on the in games there, and the defending physical, both at a top level, both at a very good level, and yet they are different. It's so weird to see two different left backs really kind of give it out. Obviously, we do have Theo next to them as well. Any team of the year has to be in that S category by a landslide. Whether we see a bigger Theo in the team of the season, that'll be up to the question, to be honest. I'd say Ashley Cole as a left back is probably coming more towards the A+, maybe dropping down a little bit. I'm not a fan of his in-game. When he's obviously like stat-wise on the screen, not terrible, but in-game he's just not as good as what I've seen other left backs be. We then have Cancelo. Again, whether he's going to get a team of the season is beyond me. I personally don't know how his buy-in kind of transition has really done well or not. But in terms of this version now, I would say slightly going down a little bit, even though the kind of stat-wise are there. And I'm thinking more of the players that I see week in, week out in Rivals, in Champs, and even in Friendlies. When you've got a game mode where it's your best of your best team, I don't see Cancelo. I see the top three lads. I'll see maybe a little bit of Alfonso, but even him is slightly going down in my opinion now. He's got all of the pace, but in terms of the actual overall, is starting to dwindle a little bit. We then have Robertson. An interesting one with him, because we've got him red and we use him in the team currently for the Premier League kind of debut of stuff. Obviously, we go back to Capdevila once it's gone, and we do also have Zinchenko now as well. Whether we see these as S category, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because stat-wise, they're impeccable still. They've got the pace, they've got the passing, the dribbling, the defending, the physical. They are as good as Capdevila stat-wise. That just naturally is. Whether they're as good in-game is the kind of next question. Zinchenko, I personally wouldn't say is. I'd say he's definitely one of the better Prem's left-backs. Obviously, Robertson and Zinchenko going head-to-head now, and this is going to be it until Foot is at the very minimum for the Prem. But whether I think they're top category, that is the question. If I was to put one, if I was to try and go 4-4 with this, I would move Robertson up there. Zinchenko's nice, and definitely the pace is very good, but I just don't feel like he has the stats of what Capdevila has, and obviously the rest of them. Are you tired of using players like this? I would much rather have teams more like this. Then I recommend going over to skycoach.gg for all of your coaching and coins needs. They are cheap, fast, and reliable, but at the checkout, make sure you are using code JT11 for a discount on your orders. Back to the video. Then we have the final two left backs, I believe two. We've got Mumba, who again, and Ben's ignore me. Just take it as you will. Ben. We're going to call him Ben. God. Mumba, in terms of the team of the year, kind of, what is the under-21s team of the year nominees or winners, I just feel like he's just there to be a bit of fodder. At the very minimum, you give up, what, an 83, 84 rated team. You get a 90 rated card back. Nobody's using a League One left back. It just isn't happening. So realistically, even though the stats are nice, he's going to feel clunky. And I just don't feel like he's going to really get anywhere. With Ben, again, maybe just because he starts off as a gold, he's got a bit of a better card in terms of the kind of overall. They've really tried too hard with the pace here, and in-games are definitely not as widespread as obviously Ben, but I don't think Ben is going to be going anywhere near that A+ anytime soon. In terms of right backs then, we've got a whole host again. In terms of the top, Carfu's got to be in that list. Hakimi's got to be there. And I'd see Navas is incredible. I feel like as the flashback was a very good one, he's got to be in that S as well. I don't like putting too many SBCs in because obviously you can't get them. It's ridicule to say, you need to go get this Navas, but he's not out still. It is what it is. But in terms of Navas, he's got a very good stat card. That is just a naturally very good right back. If we are looking at kind of the others in terms of team of the season, we're looking at Trippier, Tavernier, and obviously James. Tavernier really comes in with Kent, if anything, mainly for the links, and you do get the chemistry there. But in terms of on his own, he's just a standard right back now. We've had that nostalgic few informs, he constantly getting better and better, scoring penalties, getting goals. It was an incredible run for that year. Now we're starting to see past that, and we've got right backs that can do more. In terms of James, I feel like you could probably put him up there as well. Trippier, I would go one under, and in terms of Tavernier, I'd probably go one under. Then it leaves us with DeMarcos, who again is not terrible whatsoever, but in terms of what we're seeing now in the shift of team of the season, from the fantasies, from the winter wildcards, they are starting to go down the list now. Even though you can use them, we are getting so many right backs. If you've not packed a Tavernier, if you've not packed a Trippier or a James, you will definitely get them in the next few team of the seasons, and all of the 89s, the 88s, the 85s, they will go down the list. It just naturally happens like that. As the progression goes forward, the lower cards will always fall off, and you are looking at always new, and it's why I've not put in a whole host of crazy right backs that we've got from the 85s to the 87s, because realistically, the amount of people that I've seen with Trippier, Tavernier, and obviously James in the past few days is crazy. Obviously, we do have icons as well. We have Lahm and Zanetti, who are both definitely top of the top in terms of their position, but both of them, for me, are better as a CDM. I much prefer both of them as CDM. They work better. One's taller, one's got more agility. That is up to you to decide who that is. But in terms of the right back, they're still good at it, but I would say CDM is definitely their role. Which then leads us to centre backs. So we have got, and I think this year, a whole host of very, very top centre backs. We've got a few at the bottom that obviously you can't see just yet, but there is a lot of good centre backs. And honestly, if I'm kind of going through the list, there's not really a kind of a definite list, to be honest. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change them for the top, and we're going to work our way down. So this is going to be the biggest issue, because obviously with centre-backs, we know the top of the top straight away. We've got Maldini. Of course, this is going to bring it out a little bit more. We'll go like that. Lucio, obviously, S. Can't argue. Vidic, always S. Wow, this is going to be a big tier list. There we go. Varane, easily an S. Ooh, Nesta is a debate. I'll get back to him. Ruben Diaz, S. Team of the Year, Virgil, S. Saliba, yes. I think Saliba in-game is absolutely impeccable. Arejo, definitely. Militao, definitely. We'll get them in order so we can talk about them. I'd say Sergio Ramos, and I'd say Ake. So, obviously, the top of the top normally, Maldini, Virgil. That's the past few years. You could throw in a couple that have had some good special cards, but this year, we've got so many. Lucio has come out on top by a massive standard. I'm hoping we do get a shapeshifters, a footage versions of heroes, if we don't get the ending of Team of the Season heroes, because I thought that would have been a great concept to get. But Lucio at 91, impeccable, incredible. Team of the Year Vidic is outstanding. If you've used him, you can see the difference, not just only from a Vidic point of view, because we know most of them, we look at the Nesta, we look at the Baresi, we see Bobby Moore. In terms of their specific cards from their base all the way to their World Cup Team of the Year Trophy Titans, it is the best version of them. Vidic is outstanding as a centre-back, full stop. Varane is always going to be incredible, linked in there with Saliba and Ruben Diaz. All of them, and I think all of them could definitely get away in the top spot. And then obviously from community, Ake is a beast. If you've ever used him or ever come up against him in the Premier League Cup, you know how fast he is, especially with an anchor, shadow, whatever you put on him, as well as then the defending capabilities. outstanding. Saliba's the same, Ruben Diaz is the same, and Varane is just an absolute monster moments as well. We then have Virgil. We know Team of the Year Virgil is always going to be an absolute cracking player. I personally currently use the gold card still, and he still does really well. So, let alone go from the 90 or 91 to the 96, you just know he's going to be incredible. Arejo had a cracking upgrade from the community. Was a little bit expensive, but if you haven't got a centre-back in that endgame slot, he could definitely do it. And obviously, the counterpart to him, Militao's Team of the Year, is still outstanding as well. And finally, the SBC Ramos is SBC Ramos. I'm praying to God they do not give Ramos a Moments or an SBC into Team of the Season, because that card as a 94-95 is going to be a joke. So now we've got the top. Like they are, no questions, they are the top centre-backs in the game. We then have some, not by any means any worse centre-backs, but most definitely an incredible list of centre-backs again. Nesta, I personally do rate Nesta highly. Whether now I'd be looking at, because I think this is a lot of S's. Like, that is a lot of S's to go with, but I do think they are what I see the most of. Yes, we do see a lot of kind of Marquinhos's, Marquez's, and definitely they are up in that list, but now I think with the S list, it's got to be the top of the top. These are now a very, very close second. If you had the choice between a Marquinhos and a Varane, you'd always choose Varane. And that is kind of how I try and go with these lists as well when it comes to the top of the top. It's, if I'd got PK, would I prefer him over any of these centre-backs? Same with Rudiger. Is he going over anybody? Maybe Saliba, maybe Ake might be on that lower side in terms of the S, but I feel like brand new cards, you're going to want to try them out more than an 89 one to watch Rudiger. That is just standard. So if we start putting some in, I do think a lot of these guys are more in the S category in the past few, few months, but now they're starting to slowly turn out a little bit. Danilo, I did like him, we have got him, but I must admit, in terms of a centre-back, we will kind of keep him at the back at for the second. Bonucci as a flashback, still in SBCs as well, incredible. We have the Eredivisie kind of centre-back there, again, very nice. We're going to put Rudiger, Rio, I'd say Carlos Alberto's got to be up there, same as Blanc. Desai, I again like Lam and Zanetti, do prefer him as that CDM, but most definitely can get away with a centre-back as well. Coleman's a hard one, because again, I do like him as a card in general, but there's no way, when you look at that stats, 80 pace, yes, a little bit lower than what we need now, but a Hunter, a Shadow will work that out properly. We've got the 89 shooting, 90 passing, 81 dribbling, and then the 91 defending, 87 physical. If you are using this card anywhere other than the midfield, you are doing it wrong. So we're going to put him at the bottom to make sure that you are using him in that midfield role, because he is way better there. If then we're looking at Cordoba, still a cracking centre-back. Tomori, do you know what? Tomore's still there. This is the problem this year. We have got an abundance of very good centre-backs, and it might be the same all years, and you just forget how many centre-backs you get, but most of these will get away with the A+. Like, there's maybe a few that probably you don't get along with. I would say Hummels is more fodder than anything. PK still represents, would I say he's A+? In fact, I'd probably go more A now, actually. When I'm looking at, kind of like I said, who would I choose over PK? I'd probably choose most of these. Then we've got De Ligt. Again, not necessarily the... we'll go A with him, because I think he needs the pace increase, and whether he gets it in Team of the Season next week will be the kind of decider for him. We do find a lot of these next kind of generation cards are looking very nice. Ooh, Alaba though. Alaba's a funny one, because I see so many people not like him. I feel like he's a great centre-back. Would I choose... To be fair, Marquez has been absolute steal, so there's no way that I could put him in S if Marquez is not there, because Marquez, as a centre-back, is outstanding. We got him from the 88 plus pick, and he has been an absolute rock in the back. Koulibaly, or Koulibaly, beautiful card. Bobby Moore, probably coming a little bit lower now, and I think we'll finish off with Danilo there. I think in terms of them, I feel like that's a pretty good list because realistically, these are the centre backs that I see all the time and everybody's got. Most of the time, it's any version of Maldini, any version of Lucio. Now we'll start to see Varane in there. I've personally got Diaz now, so I'm going to be trying him out more and more over the course of champs, and he looks and feels absolutely incredible from the first couple of games we've played with him. Everybody else, I feel like, is in a good spot. Let me know down below. We will move myself down here so you can see it. Check out the video on screen. If you did enjoy this list, make sure you do like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all for the next one. We've got attackers next week. Bring your watching popcorn because it's going to be a big one. Peace.